Hi, hello there. I'm Timome, and welcome to Chateau de Timome. That feels like such a rehearsed interaction. But hello, welcome to Chateau de Timome. I'm Timome. I'm a chef by profession, but I'm an artist otherwise. And today I want to do something a little less dramatized as the previous video. I want to do something that's a little more relaxed, a little more chilled. I'll say it's extremely hot. So I said to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna throw on a t-shirt, some jeans, and a do-rag, and just do a simply put video. Of course, you're still gonna have a dish and a concept and all of that drama, but me in a more relaxed state, in a more at-home state, something a little more personal and interpersonal between you and I, if you know what I mean. And just something that's a little more fun and less chefy, you know. Turn off that chef element and turn on that at-home element. So bear with me because I have the concept of the dish, but I have no idea how I'm gonna plate it, how I'm gonna style it. So you and I will be walking through the creative process together, and it should be fun. So let's get into it. So as I'm rinsing and compartmentalizing my vegetables, I decided that I'm gonna give a little synopsis of what I decided to conceptualize as the dish for today. So what I've decided is that I am going to do a dish made of golden apple because we're currently in the golden apple season. And I wanted to add another element to it without using lettuce. So I said, what is something different that I can use as opposed to lettuce? And I said, cruciferous vegetables. So I got broccoli and broccoli flower, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And the reason why I chose broccoli flower is because they didn't have cauliflower. But yeah, I decided to do a dish made of guanaco, like an appetizer or a salad, and therefore I wanted to add a Caribbean flair to it because guanacos are Caribbean, and I decided to come up with a pineapple vinaigrette. I don't know if I'm gonna add a herbal element to it as yet. That's yet to be determined. But we're gonna try some tomatoes and some cucumbers. I have no idea how I'm gonna stylize them for the plate. But at least we have the basics, right? We have the main element, which is the golden apple. We have a sub main element, or a sub element, which is the cruciferous vegetables. And then we're gonna add some more Caribbean style flavors to it with the pineapple. And I decided to try plantain as well. And we'll see how it goes. So I'm just gathering my tools. Say hello to my toolkit. Uh, and then we're going to get into the dish process. So I'm a Mercer boy, as you guys know. So I like Mercer knives. So I'm gonna pull this one, my chef knife, and my paring knife. I don't think I need to use any other knife, right? Nah. So these two. Presently, I'm in vegetable preparation mode, so I'm not gonna bore you with a long, drawn-out video on how I prepped each veg. I'm probably gonna insert a time lapse of this process, and then from there, I'm gonna get into the more exciting stuff, which is the plating process of it all for me, and the journey to get to the end. So therefore, as I'm here and I'm observing my vegetables, I've decided to do it in stages. So I want to do a planting type of salsa where I steam the plantain in some West Indian spice flour for that additional Caribbean element. And then I want to slightly caramelize my pineapple and slightly saute my cruciferous vegetables with some salt and pepper, maybe some dried herbs. And I have to give it an additional flavor because you don't want it necessarily sappy, but you want a nice crunch, but still a good flavor and a good texture. And I think slightly sauteing them would do that for me in some butter. And I think that's pretty much it. I began some elements of the preparation here. So I'm thinking I need to insert them in as well or not. But I don't think you're gonna miss much. It's probably just cutting up a few pieces of golden apple. So I may insert it into the time lapse video, but I'm not certain. But we'll see how things go. But right now, I'm pretty excited because it's all coming together. I'm more excited with how I'm gonna stylize it on a plate. Plating is like my thing. So I love taking a canvas and making it into something creative, almost like a painting with food. So I'm very eager to get to that place in this journey. So stay with me. Stay with me. So here, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of our meal preparation process. So we have all of our elements, well, majority of them, because they're not totally completed. And then I'm going to head to the stove and prepare the rest and show you how I'm going to put together the sauce. So stay tuned. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, one of our exciting stages of cooking, the stove. Here we have just 3 items to prep here, and that is to finish saute our cruciferous veg, and then we have to caramelize our pineapples and then steam off our plantain in the brown sugar spice water as aforementioned. So, forgive me if I'm a bit sweaty, it is already hot here, but thank God I chose not to wear my chef clothes because then I'll be sweating out my liver like I do at work. So we're about to get into the process of these 3 items here at the stove, so let's go. First thing I want to do is put my plantain in the water. It is basically just cinnamon, ground spice, nutmeg, brown sugar, just a salt and pepper for taste, and I added just a hint of almond essence, just for that additional, oomph, And while that is steaming, because I can now turn it up, because I had it on a low heat because I wanted it to boil and get all its flavoring before I add them. So I had put it on earlier, so now it's just to boil up. So while that's doing it, I'm about to saute my cruciferous veg. So let me just get my butter. Now, I love sunflower butter. That's the only butter I really use, at home especially. Growing up, my grandmother used to use this with wheat bread. So I just developed a love for the taste of it. It's something like when we wanted snacks as children, she always gave us either the strawberry jam, let me see if I have it here. Either this strawberry jam and wheat bread, or butter and wheat bread. And I just developed a love for sunflower butter. And then to come and find out that it's vegan, I was like, fantastic. Very tasty butter. So I want this as hot as possible because this is not gonna be like a saute down. This is gonna be like a quick saute. So once that sizzles down, you just toss it lightly and it's not something that's gonna stay on forever. So since the buttermilk, I'm gonna put that in there, give it a nice toss. I'm gonna add some granulated garlic to it, just another flavor element. I'm big on herbs and spices, and I'm going to also add some marjoram, dried though. And some thyme. And then our salt, and that completes that. And then we're gonna lightly toss that. And just give that a little second to cook up a little more, and then that's done. While that's doing, our plantain should be nice and ready because it's boiling. So we're gonna take that out. That should have a nice flavor. Voila. And then we can give it another toss and turn this off because again, we want that nice crunch. You're just really doing this to add a bit of flavor, but nothing too serious. And that's that on that. So now it's just to caramelize our pineapple. So what I like to do is, I like to not add oil to the pan, but I like to add everything to the pineapple itself and then add it to the pan. So I'm going to add salt, pepper, white sugar, and then I'm going to add some oil, and then we're just going to put them in until they get a nice brown on each side, and that's it. This is the perfect example of why I say that this is a journey, right? Because as you originally know, I had planned to make the plantain into a type of salsa, but instead, because I saw how beautifully yellow this was, I decided I'm gonna slice it and put it around the base of the salad because it's such a nice, perfectly, it's such a perfect color. It is a beautiful shade of yellow. So I'm just gonna slice those like that and add them to the base of the salad. So I think that's gonna add color, it's gonna make it interesting. So this is why I say it's a process and that I'm taking on my personal journey, because in the midst of preparation, there's so much things that can change, there's so many ideas that can come. So this is why I love the art of cuisine, because it is a never-ending process, especially when you're creative. And there's so many things to come out of so many things. So that's what I love the most. So we're at our salsa making stage. So this salsa is not really going to be salsa because it's not going to be like a traditional Mexican salsa. I'm going to more add some Barbadian elements to it and make it a little different because the dish is Caribbean, essentially. So I'm going to do lemon juice, some salt, pepper, sugar, oil, and then I'm going to, instead of using Tabasco sauce, I'm going to add Bajan pepper sauce, my favorite brand, you'll see. And then I'm going to add some parsley flakes. So here we're adding our oil. Nice and oily. Granted, it doesn't have to be too oily because then we're still doing a vinaigrette. So that should be enough. Some black pepper. And as you can see, I use a lot of local ingredients. Super blend, MIS. Like I support my people. So parsley flakes. And this is Aunt May's pepper sauce. I love Aunt May products. I really do. Seasoning, pepper sauce. Yeah. Aunt May is a good brand. So we're gonna add that. I'm gonna sprinkle in some bits of sugar. Just to balance it out, really. And then our salt. And then we're gonna squeeze some lemon juice into it. So I use the juice of 2 lemons. As you can see, I don't really measure much when I'm at home. I just kind of like putting until my ancestors tell me enough, Timome, enough. So that's how that's how I tend to cook home. I don't really measure. I don't really. If I wanted to, I probably could conceptualize the recipe for you, but when I'm at home, I just throw it at the wall until it sticks, essentially. So once we squeeze our lemons in there, give it a good mix, and that should be completed. Number 4. 4th slice, and then shake that out, and then we're just gonna mix and mix and mix. And that should be good. And then after this, we're going to make our vinaigrette and then get to my favorite part, the plating. So I'm excited to be near to that process. We isn't done yet. We're about 3/4 way. So we are on the home stretch of our mise en place. And this is the vinaigrette stage. I always like to do dressings last because I feel like they're simpler and, you know, they're quicker to put together. So I'm making my vinaigrette, and so far in the bowl I have sugar, salt, and some ginger powder, some apple cider vinegar, and some pineapple juice. Why I chose apple cider vinegar is because I feel like it will add a different flavor, and it's a very strong vinegar. But when you add it to stuff, it usually tastes really nice. So I add that, and I'm just gonna add some more ground ginger. I like ground ginger. It maintains the same nice flavor of fresh ginger, but it's more dissolvable. So that's why I like fresh ginger. And I'm going to use mustard to emulsify my oil and my liquids. So I'm gonna add some mustard to that as well. And mustard is such a nice flavor in vinaigrettes. I love it. So that's why I'm choosing to use mustard. And once we whip those ingredients together nicely, then we're gonna gradually drizzle in our oil until it has a nice thick consistency, and our vinaigrette is done. So we're just going to gradually add our oil and get that in until it's nice and thick, and we're practically done. I'm not going to have else in here watching me with oil and liquids together, so I'll do this and then we'll move from there. And voila, it's fini. Here we have our mise en place in place, and everything is finished and ready to be plated. As you can see, I'm all set up and ready to go. So I'm really looking forward to how I'm going to put together this dish. I still have no idea how I'm going to do it, But we shall see how everything turns out. Pray for me. So here we have it, the final boss. We've made it through the journey, we've completed all the levels, now we have final boss. And to be honest, it came out significantly better than I anticipated. I'm really proud of how it looks. It's completed with color and texture. I'm even more excited about how it tastes because I'm a massive foodie outside of being a chef. So I really am curious about the taste element of it for sure. So I'm actually going to use this for a lunch I'm having later. But I am super proud of it. I don't know if you get to see it properly, but that is my baby. I don't know what the title is yet, but we'll cross that hurdle when we cross it. And by the time I post this, it would already have its own title and concept. But thank you for taking time out of your day to engage in Timome Talks. Have a good day.